Okay, so we could see that that was a very emotive speech. I mean, the reason I wanted to start with these two is that obviously some of you might be more natural actors. Okay, you might be thinking about doing GCSE drama, and I want to show that when a script is written for a film, then actually it reminds us of the acting side that can actually make a difference in our delivery. Okay, these are obviously professional actors. They're in role. They would have had time to practice and deliver. They would have been directed in certain areas like louder, slow that down, emphasize that word. But it does remind us that the process of memorization and delivery isn't just saved for rhetorical speeches. It's kind of like a transferable skill. And you can see how the language helps with that. So his use of the raising voice, his use of the control of pace, we will. So even though he's using that technique, okay, the anaphora, he's using it in such a way that it helps him decide where he's going to pause and emphasize when he speaks. Similarly, he talks about, I don't know if you spotted it, he talks about mankind at the end of one sentence and he begins the next sentence, mankind, that's taken on different meaning today, the anaplosis. So again, he's using what's been written to direct how he speaks. Now that's really important. Okay, so our first woman. Now we're looking now, the last three speeches are all from real life. Okay, now as I said, again, this is what we're looking at today. We're using each of these speeches to give us a taste of what we mean by delivery. And we're hearing 5 very different voices. Okay, now you might recognize this lovely Emma Watson. Okay, yes, she was an actress, but this is actually a speech that she was making in relation to feminism, a cause that she's very passionate about for the he/she movement. And again, you're going to watch it. You're just going to make some notes as you watch, but really today is about experiencing 5 different speeches. And if so inclined, looking at different speeches, you might say, oh, I remember that speech from that film. That was really good. Because I want you just to have a template or a range of examples, I should say, sorry, not a template, in your head of how delivery can be different. Now, this is Emma Watson. So she's representing for the women. Okay, so as you watch her speech, again, how she engaging the audience, how she using language to prove she's right. So that idea of her logos, how she using language to emphasize and make key points stand out, how she creating emotion. Okay, so again, as you're watching, you're just making notes. These notes are designed to help you when you think reflectively on your speeches and your delivery over the next few lessons. Okay, so this is our lovely Emma Watson. So watch her speech, and then we'll talk in a minute about some of the things we might have seen. Okay, now actually this speech maybe helped you out compared to the other two because the titles, the words of the speech do come up on the screen. Okay, but she's definitely anecdotal, isn't she? She uses anecdote right across these E's of persuasion. She uses anecdote to engage, to emphasize, to create emotion, and she does these lovely stories of her own experiences growing up. So this use of personal anecdote to create that sense of authenticity, a credible ethos. We trust her because she's talking about her own experiences. What I did like about this speech, just going to say, she does that definition amplification at the beginning that you were encouraged to do when you're building your paragraphs. So she defines what a feminist is, but then she also amplifies it. Okay, and she also uses a little bit of Leotes because she says what feminism is not. Feminism is not man-hating. So lovely examples here of really contemporary within the last kind of like 10 years. No, Independence Day might be quite old now. Okay, 15 years. I'm too old for this game, but definitely just showing you that rhetoric is not a thing of the past. It is not obsolete. It doesn't stay in the Greek calendar, in the Grecian times. We see it up to date all the time. Okay, my lovelies. So there we've got Emma Watson. So hopefully, again, her style of delivery. Now you can see she never looks down once. Okay, so if this is a real speech, not from a film, not being directed like the other two were, actually she's very staid. She's central, yet within the room, isn't she? Everyone's looking at her, but she knows this speech. She's very slowly delivering it. So the pace of how she delivers it, she's very clear. Okay, and she's very confident. We don't want to rush. I'm a quick speaker, a little bit of a spitter when I get excited. So for me, I would be really conscious in learning my speech to slow down. Okay, and we'll look at ways we can do that in subsequent lessons, but we're just experiencing these speeches today. Now, this next speech, now I put this one in by accident. Sorry, not by accident, that's when we get to Denzel Washington. Now, this is our oldest speech. Now, this is out of all of them the most historic we're looking at today. This takes us back to the year I was born, 1978. And we've got Martin Luther King. So this is, in a way, it's been so overpresented, we lose the power of the speech, but this is incredibly powerful. And what you'll also notice is because of the recording equipment, it might seem the least clear, the least polished of our recordings, but it really is a beautiful speech. And again, you're only looking at an extract here, but I want you to think about that delivery. How's he making points stand out? What can you see in terms of the language that he is using? Okay, so a beautiful representative of a very powerful speech. Okay, so watch, enjoy, make your notes, and I'll see you again in a minute. Okay, so he uses those personal pronouns, doesn't he? That we, that inclusive use of the pronoun we. He uses the I have a dream, it's a classic moment. He uses it throughout the speech, that anaphora, that repetition. But he also uses some very powerful metaphoric language. He talks about sitting at a table of brotherhood. He talks about Missouri sweltering in injustice. And it's, again, very measured. This word measured, it's a very slow, controlled delivery. When we speak spontaneously, in other words, when I'm just talking to you and you're talking to me in the classroom, you're talking to somebody at home, that's what we call spontaneous speech. And that's the most natural way in which we talk. It's the most natural way in which we talk. We are spontaneous, and our brain is amazingly designed to help us actually minimize mistakes. So even though we speak very quickly, our brain is working really hard when we speak naturally in our relationships, on the phone to somebody, face to face, having a conversation with mum, somebody in the house. Our brain does amazing things to minimize mistakes. And it naturally creates places of pause and times that our brain can just catch up. And we're not even aware of it. It's amazing how our brain works when we speak spontaneously. What we're talking about, though, with the delivery of your speech is not spontaneous. And yet, at the same time, we still need to remain authentic. So when we're learning our speeches, it's that right balance between sounding friendly and authentic and passionate, but exercising self-control. So exercising knowing the words that we might trip over, the words that we want to emphasize, where we want to use the changing tone of our voice for an emotional moment, maybe a bit of sadness. And if we're angry, it comes through in our tone. So that's elements of what we're seeing across these speeches, that self-control of the way they speak in order to best deliver. Now, the last one you're going to watch today, and then that's us done for today, okay, is we're now going to go to a commencement speech. Now, actually, these got really popular. If you go Google search famous people doing commencement speeches, you will see that we have got lots. Okay, there was a Steve Jobs one. Commencement speeches were really suddenly quite popular, inviting back famous inspirational actors, inventors, achievers to do what we call in America the commencement speech, which is the end, the graduation speech. When I was a university student, it was Neil Kinnock. Now, if you know Neil Kinnock, brilliant, give yourself a bonus point. But Neil Kinnock was the leader of the Labour Party when I was a young student, and he came and he did the speech at my university, and I don't remember it. I don't know whether it's because I was nervous or whether I was bored. I don't know whether I was looking forward to going out afterwards. My family, my mum came up, my dad for my graduation. But I do remember that. It was a very typically kind of like me moment. I don't even remember much about the day. I remember I had to wear one of those hats. I'm not very good. My memory is very bad. So these speeches, though, the commencement speeches often get a bit of press. Suddenly somebody makes one and they make a point that's so... I think Beyonce's an example we could have gone to for a really up-to-date one. She did a commencement speech recently. But last one to listen to today. Now, this one is longer, so don't listen for the whole 10 minutes unless you're enjoying it, because it is really powerful and it is cited, best speech ever, not my words, somebody on the internet, as an example of a really good inspirational, motivational speech. Okay, but same process for us. As we're watching it, make some notes. How's he engaging? How's he using evidence to educate, to emphasize, to emote? Okay, so are you ready? So you're just going to look at that one, and then we're just going to come back and share a few things together, and then that's us done for the day. Okay, so fail big. So we've got lots of this repetition. Okay, lots of the repetition of these key ideas. He uses lots of anecdote. Lots of research quotes from credible people, doesn't he? He uses the stories of others. So he mentions the inventor Edison and how he failed so many times. He mentions himself in his acting career. So he uses anecdote. He uses the story of others to inspire us. He uses that repetition fail, but he uses the catchphrase fall forward. So I really like this speech. I love Denzel Washington. He was one of my favorite actors when I was again younger. Don't see so much of him now, but he's brilliant. But he's being used to inspire at the commencement speech that he was delivering other young people at the beginning of the next stage of their life to fail big. In other words, to take risk. He talks about taking risk, and he uses his voice that's very measured and calm. Okay, so from our process today, we've seen 5 speeches. Feel free to look at any of them again. Feel free to go a little bit deeper if you're enjoying it. There's loads of really good speeches out there. There's a Steve Jobs one, which is really powerful. Beyonce, as I said, made one recently. So, but what we're challenging you to do, okay, now this is the challenge, what you need to have got from this, is under that concept of delivery, you've seen now how 5 different speeches are delivered, how they're using the language techniques that we've already written into our speeches from last week. So we've seen anecdote, antithesis, alliteration, we've seen hyperporia, we've seen endoplosis, anaphora, we've seen all of the stuff I was teaching you to use on the page last week. But now we've married it to delivery. We've now seen how it is being delivered. Now, there might be a style there that you want to model yourself on. You might think, well, I'm definitely an Emma Watson. You might think, I'm going to go for the Independence Day or the Samwise Gamgee approach. Now, all I mean by that is that maybe, Samwise was softer and sadder in his delivery, and then he built a little bit of hope. The president was much more authoritative and forceful. Emma Watson, I believe, I still watch that. I think she was so calm and collected, like really that's poise and control. And you might decide you're going to go for that you're going to be really poised and control. Martin Luther King, beautifully measured, beautiful example of discipline and control in a really powerful subject matter. So across those models, you might think that's what I'm going to use. So what we're going to do, guys, is we're ending there. Tomorrow, we're going to use some of those ideas to help us think about how we're going to deliver our own speeches. So I'll see you tomorrow, and thank you.